Hello everyone and welcome to my class. Today we'll be doing the rise of nationalism in Europe. This is the first chapter of class 10th history. Right now, in throughout this chapter, we'll be discussing about how the modern nation states formed in Europe. Right. So, before coming on the formation of new modern nation states, first of all, we need to understand few things. We need to understand the background, what led to the rise of these modern nation states. Right. So, let's start the chapter. There is a painting given in the book on the first page of this chapter. This painting was painted by a French artist named Frederic Serieux. He painted a series of four paintings in the year 1848, and his main motive was to depict the idea of liberty, democratic and social republics. Now, what do you mean by these terms? Why he painted this? There was a purpose. If you remember, in class ninth, you have already studied about the French Revolution. Now, you have ended that chapter from till Napoleon Bonaparte, that he became the ruler of France. Now, there were many ideas that were drawn that from the French Revolution, which inspired the people across the world, initially across the European land. Now, how the ideas like the liberty, equality, justice, all these ideas became prominent in European history after the revolution. We'll see that. Frederic Serieux, he painted these ideas. So let's talk about the painting first. In this painting, he has shown that on one side, Statue of Liberty is installed, and people from different regions of Europe, they are marching towards the Statue of Liberty by they are having their flags in their hands, and their dresses, their flags shows that people of not one region but different regions of Europe, they have come to pay homage to the Statue of Liberty, right? And the symbols of despotic rules are lying on the floor, like the crown. These are the symbols which are lying on the floor, suggesting that people in Europe now wanted a change in the political setup. They no more interested in the despotic rule of the rulers. They wanted to change their rulers. They wanted to have government or the ruler of their own choice. This is depicted in the painting, and while the people are doing this, they on above, on top of them, Jesus Christ and the angels, they are showering their blessings on the people, which again suggests that whatever the change is taking place in Europe, they are blessed by the gods, right? They are blessed by the angels. Means this was the time period when Europe saw a drastic change in the political setup, and these changes, these ideas inspired people across the Europe to make modern nation states. How the Europe, which was under the control of many despots, were replaced by a new form of governments or the leaders of people's choice. So throughout this chapter we'll be discussing these things. So the chapter starts with this painting. Many times question has been asked on this. Who was Frederic Serieux? What was his contribution? Then you need to write. He painted a series of four paintings in which he depicted these ideas. Right. Now, in this thing, why this was painted in this year? Because this was a very crucial year. After French Revolution, in mid 19th centuries, these developments were taking place in Europe. There were mostly the rulers who were despots. We have discussed these terms earlier also. Despots are such rulers who rule at their own will. No one can give them advice. No one can oppose their words, and their words become rule for the citizens, right? So whatever they do at their own will, whether it is right or wrong. They never consulted other people. So such ruler is are called despots, and their rule, their reign is described as absolutism, or sometimes you'll find word absolute despotism or despotism. These terms are used by historians to describe their rule of such rulers who rule at their own will without consulting others. Right? They give preference to themselves rather than to their people. So Europe was in such a time when in the entire Europe was ruled by such despots, and they were having their kingdoms, their empires, right? And there were no modern nation states at that time. So how the change came? Then there is a definition, a new definition that of nation is given by Ernest Renan. He was a French philosopher. He delivered a lecture in a university, and that lecture was published later on. Uh, the title of his article was what is a nation. Through his lecture, he wanted to he gave a new definition of nation. Earlier it was thought that people of same breed, of same race, sharing same culture, they form a nation, right? In a particular territory they form a nation. But he changed the view of visualizing the nation. He said that a nation is composed of such people who share a common past, a past of sacrifice, endeavor, a past of devotion. It's not about only one particular race speaking one particular language, following same culture. It is about that they have a common identity, because they have shared a common past of endeavor, devotion, and sacrifices of a one particular territory, and they form the nation. According to him, plebiscite is a very essential feature of a nation. A nation where the will of the public, the will of the people, is a prominent thing. They are the ones who decides who will going to rule them, right? So plebiscite is when the government or the elected leader works according to the will of the people. He will not work only for himself, but he'll work for his people. This definition was given by Ernest Renan, and somewhere these ideas changed the mindsets of the people in Europe. But this was not a sudden change. It took many years and lots of struggle. Then only these changes came to realization, right? Now, talking about the French Revolution and the idea of nation. If you have understood about the French Revolution, then you are very clear about what happened during the revolution. Despot Louis XVI was replaced by, firstly, a National Assembly. The National Assembly gave the power to Jacobean club leader Maximilien Robespierre. He used, or he misused his powers to impose his will on the public. Then he was also replaced. The National Convention was formed. The National Convention brought directory rule in France. Again, directory rule failed, and finally, the Napoleon Bonaparte came to power. He was a dictator. Now, in ninth standard, you have studied all these things. To carry on that French Revolution further, what happened when Napoleon came to power? How the changes came in the French society, we'll discuss that. And how the idea of nation emerged, right? So, French Revolution, one very important question comes in exam. This question is very important from board point of view, board exam point of view. This is the question, how the French revolutionaries they spread the idea of nationalism, right? But before how they promote the idea of nationalism, one very important thing is, what is nationalism? Now, nationalism is a feeling of love towards one's nation. One thing that I can sacrifice anything for my nation, I can even sacrifice my life for the nation. This intense feeling is patriotism. But nationalism is a feeling that we all share a common identity. We belong to this land. This is our land. It is our duty to look after our land. Right? So, this feeling of belongingness, of sharing a common identity, is nationalism. Right? So, how this nationalism, feeling of nationalism, was promoted by the French revolutionaries, firstly in France, and later this feeling of nationalism was spread to other parts of Europe. So, what steps they have taken? This is very, very, very important. They by promoting La Patrie and Le Citoyen, they promoted such idea like La Patrie and Le Citoyen. Now, these are French terms. La Patrie means fatherland. This is our fatherland. This is our land, and we are the ones who will going to decide who will rule. We will look after our fatherland. जैसे इंडिया में हम बोलते हैं हमारी मातृभूमि, वैसे वहाँ पे उनका फादरलैंड. Then Le Citoyen is means this is our land and we are the citizens. We all are one. We all are having one identity, that we belong to this particular land. So such feelings are promoted among the French people. How? Adoption of new tricolor flag. They have given themselves a new identity. They adopted such symbol to symbolize their unity, to symbolize their common identity. They adopted a tricolor flag. One country, one flag. Then promoting French language. In different provinces of France, different language people used to speak. So vernacular languages, dialects were discouraged, and rather than French language was promoted. So a common language makes people one common unit, right? Then uniform weights and measurements were adopted. Earlier in France, doing trade was a real headache, because in every province of France, different weights and measurements were used. So this has created a problem for the traders. For example, let's take an example of LA. LA is a unit. Suppose if I am a trader, I'm a textile trader, and I need to sell my cloth. So suppose if in one province, one LA is equal to 55.5 centimeter. So in other province of France, it might be 52.1 centimeter. In another province of France, it might be 51.2 centimeter. I'm just giving you an example. So कपड़ा एक ही है, लेकिन मेजरमेंट चेंज हो गया. कभी कपड़े की लेंथ इतनी है, कभी थोड़ी कम हो गई, कभी और कम हो गई, कभी बहुत ज़्यादा हो गई. So this has created a problem. This created a confusion. Similarly, the case was with weights also. So all these points were somewhere hampering the trade and commerce in the country. So what happened? Uniform system of weights and measurement was adopted to promote trade. Other steps was taken was to establish centralized administrative system. Same rule for all, so that an equality can be established. These were the steps taken by the French revolutionaries in France. Firstly in France, and later these ideas were spread to other parts of Europe. So these points are very, very, very important. Now, uh, the Napoleon Bonaparte, when he became the ruler of France, he declared himself the ruler. He was a military general. In the year 1804, he became the ruler, right? So after sorry, after coming to power, what he did, he firstly consolidated his power by adopting some important changes in the administration, right? And he changed the rules, administrative rules. This is called the Code of 1804 or the Napoleonic Code of 1804. The changes introduced by the Napoleon Bonaparte in the administration. So what were the changes? Privileges based on birth was abolished. Remember the French society, the clergy and the nobility group, they were the ones who enjoy privileges. They were exempted from paying taxes. They were living a luxurious life. Other other benefits also they enjoyed. So such privileges which were based on the birth of on birth were abolished by him. Now all the sections of the French society was treated equally. They, even the clergy and the nobility group, will going to pay the same tax the third state people were paying. So this has reduced the burden of taxes from on the shoulders of third state people, and equality was established in the French society, which was demanded by the people. Remember, so privileges were based on birth was abolished by Napoleon. Then he established equality before law by making uniform laws. Now the laws will be same for everyone, whether you belong to nobility class or the clergy class or the third state. Rule will be rule for everyone, same for everyone, no changes. Right? Then secured right to property. Earlier, the property rights were only with the clergy and the nobility group, but now and the property rights were given to everyone. Even the third state people can enjoy to have or to own property. Then he abolished the feudal system. Now feudal system, serfdom and manorial dues. Now these are the terms given in the book, but no explanation of this is given, so I am explaining here. What is a feudal system? Feudal system, word feud means piece of land. So this was a practice in Europe, medieval Europe, that most of the despots, they were not paying their nobles, they are not paying their ministers in cash. So instead of giving them salaries, what the rulers used to do, they used to grant a piece of land to them. They used to give a piece of land to their ministers and nobles. Right? So they became feudal lord. A feud was granted to the ministers and nobles, and the nobles and ministers, they become feudal lords. The land is now theirs. Feudal lords sometimes are also having in their granted land, they used to have their residence, huge residence, palaces. These residence palaces were called manors, right? And the land, granted land, people living in on their land were required to pay taxes to the feudal lords. Because if the land is mine, this village is mine, and the people living here, they are using my property, so they will have to pay the rent to me, or I can tax them. So this was the condition in Europe, not only in France but in entire Europe. Right? So this was the feudal system, a system based on land granting. It is called feudal system. Now the people who were using my land, feudal lords land, they were required to pay rents to the or tax to the feudal lord. Such taxes were called manorial dues, right? And not only money, not only tax, but many times they were required to provide free services to the feudal lord. Such services are called serfdom. they serve as serfs to their lords. देखो अलग अलग चीज़ें होती है. इफ़ वी एम्प्लॉय एनी सर्वेंट, अगर हम किसी को अपना सर्वेंट रखते हैं तो वी पे मनी, वी गिव वेजेस टू सर्वेंट, राइट. हम उसको पैसा देते हैं उसकी सर्विसेज के बदले. देन वी ऑल्सो नो अबाउट स्लेवरी, जहाँ पे अगेंस्ट द विल ऑफ अ पर्सन द पर्सन इज सेल टू अदर पर्सन एंड द मास्टर विल ट्रीट द पर्सन एज स्लेव. किसी भी व्यक्ति को उसकी मर्जी के खिलाफ अगर हम बेच देते हैं तो उसका खरीदार जो भी होगा वो उसे गुलाम की तरह यूज करेगा. दिस इज कॉल्ड स्लेवरी, दिस इज कॉल्ड स्लेव, राइट. लेकिन सर्वडम एक अलग प्रैक्टिस है. यहाँ पे इंसान फ्री है, जब भी उसके मालिक को जरूरत पड़ेगी तो वो अपनी फ्री सर्विसेज देगा विदाउट आस्किंग फॉर मनी. दिस प्रैक्टिस इज कॉल्ड सर्वडम. और जब मालिक को ज़रूरत नहीं है तो वो अपना काम परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, इंडिविजुअल लाइफ जी सकते हैं. तो दिस वॉज सर्वडम. ऐसे लोगों को सर्व्स कहा जाता था और प्रैक्टिस को सर्वडम. सो दिस इज अबाउट फ्यूडल सिस्टम, सर्वडम एंड मेमोरियल ड्यूज. दीज practices were abolished by the Napoleon. These practice was abolished in France first, right. Then he removed the restrictions on the guilds and transport and communication was promoted. Guilds, union, traders, craft persons, they form small organization, उनको guild कहा जाता है, राइट. सो इन पे जो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस थी पहले डिस्पॉट्स के टाइम पे, ही रिमूव्ड दैट रिस्ट्रिक्शंस. ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड कम्युनिकेशन वाज प्रमोटेड so that trade and commerce can also be promoted to make economy sound. It was necessary to promote trade and commerce, right. and trade and commerce को promote करने के लिए ये सारे steps लिए गए, right. So these were the changes that were introduced under the code of 1804, which is also called the Napoleonic Code. Now, not only all these changes had an impact on the rest of the Europe, but these ideas were circulated by the French soldiers after bringing these changes in the administration. After consolidating his position in the French society, what Napoleon had done, because these changes promoted many good things in the French society. जैसे it brought a uniformity in the administration and government. Then sorry, he established equality in the French society. Rules were same, common uniform laws were made for everyone, treating everyone equal. Now all these changes were welcomed by the French people. And after consolidating his position in the French territories, Napoleon started his expedition against the neighboring nation. He started invading the neighboring nation to expand the French Empire. So जहाँ जहाँ वो लड़ने जाता, जिस जिस देश में वो अटैक करता, जिस भी एम्पायर, जिस भी किंगडम में वो अटैक करता, his soldiers used to spread the idea of these ideas. Liberty, equality, justice, these ideas were promoted by the French soldiers. Because हम यूरोप की बात कर रहे हैं और यूरोप में ऐसे ही डिस्पॉट्स रूल करते थे जो जनता की नहीं सोचते थे. तो जहाँ जहाँ फ्रेंच सोल्जर्स, जहाँ जहाँ वो लड़ाई लड़ता, टेरिटरीज जीतता, वहाँ पे अपने सोल्जर्स को छोड़ देता. और वो सोल्जर्स जो थे वो उस न्यू टेरिटरीज, जो न्यू विनिंग टेरिटरीज होती, उन पे अपना सोल्जर्स को जब इंस्टॉल किया जाता तो वो सोल्जर्स जो थे लोकल लोगों में इस तरह के आइडियाज़ को प्रमोट करते थे. So the French soldiers were seen as a harbingers of liberty. Harbinger means the messenger of liberty, means they were welcomed by the people. Because somewhere in Europe, entire Europe, the people wanted these kind of changes. They were fed up with their despots. This is all about French Revolution and the idea of nation. and that is the reason we give importance to French Revolution. Right, now based on this lecture I am going to give you a few questions. Please do it. My first question is, I'll write it on the board. Please note down these questions, try to answer these questions, and if you find any difficulty then do mention it in the comment section. My first question is, what idea was depicted, what idea was depicted by Frederick, sorry, the spelling, in his paintings. Next is, define term nationalism. Third question is, what definition of a nation was given by Ernest Renan? My fourth question is, how the idea of nationalism was, how the idea of nationalism was promoted by French soldiers? Now next is, what changes, define terms feudal system, manorial dues and serfdom. My sixth question is, what changes were introduced in the administration under the Code of 1804? My last question, who were known as harbingers of liberty and why? So do these questions. While doing these questions, you'll be covering all those points that we have discussed in this lecture. So please like, share and review and subscribe this channel. Thank you.